Stanford University Law and Policy Review Board. It asked that articles be solicited that focused on homosexuality as to whether or not it is associated with medical or psychological harm. It chose authors who would represent both traditional and pro-gay points of view. When the Stanford Policy Review editors and staff read the shocking evidence of the medical and psychological harm created by homosexuality, they reversed their decision. They chose to publish only the pro-gay articles. The ones they refused to publish are now available through the Regent University Law Review. Media. Have you noticed how little you know about the dark side of homosexuality? It relates to the successful effort to use the media to normalize homosexuality in the public's eye and to avoid articles that report negative aspects of homosexuality. People who publicly expose the dark side are quickly discredited and identified with Hitler or the Ku Klux Klan. Now, this media stance is the result of a deliberate effort of gay activists to market the concept of homosexuality to America. Two Harvard graduates, Marshall Kirk and Hunter Madsen, authored a, quote, conspiracy marketing plan, end of quote, in 1989. The purpose of their plan is to normalize homosexuality in the public eye. To accomplish their purpose, they identified two strategies, and this now is quoting from their publication or their marketing plan. Quote, first you get your foot in the door by being as similar as possible. If you use idealistic gay advertisements, it makes no difference that the ads are lies, not to us, because you're using them to ethically good effect, end of quote. The second strategy is this, quote, the public should be persuaded that gays are victims of circumstances, that they no more choose this orientation than their height. For all practical purposes, gays should be considered to have been born gay, end of quote. Now, the marketing document, which has been followed with great success, ends with a call to discredit, intimidate, and silence opponents. Instead of allowing free and open debate, the authors advocate desensitizing mainstream America to the homosexuality by jamming any contrary information and mobilizing sympathetic political forces. And Gagnon and I both know what that is like. This information I've just shared is found in one of the articles which the Stanford Review Board rejected. Take a look at legal actions. Well publicized, but they threaten organizations holding to a traditional position. Legal threats are being mounted against organizations accused of discrimination against homosexuals. The Boy Scouts is one such organization, accused of being discriminatory because they decided not to allow openly active gays to serve as Scout leaders. Their decision, which was contested in courts of law all the way up to the Supreme Court, has made it difficult for the Scouts. Many public schools and funding agencies who assume that the leaders are guilty of discrimination have cut off funds that they traditionally give the Scouts. Few of these donors, however, know the reason why the Scouts took their much contested stand. Here's the story. A California family sued the Scouts in 1993 for exposing their son to a Scout leader who molested him. In the subsequent suit, the Scouts were ordered to turn over 25,000 pages of documents to the plaintiff. This unprecedented disclosure revealed that thousands of boys had been molested by Scout leaders and their volunteers between the years 1971 and 1991, resulting in the expulsion of over 1,800 Scout volunteers for post-pubescent activity. The document showed that some Scout leaders molested over 40 such boys before getting caught. Yet, the North American Man-Boy Love Association chose to write a letter of protest to the National Scout Office, quote, urging the Boy Scouts of America to cease its discrimination against openly gay or lesbian persons in the appointment of the Scoutmasters and Scouters in its membership, end of quote. Another illustration of intimidation through legal action is found in the action of the legislators in the Swedish Parliament of May of this year. They passed the first reading of a bill criminalizing hate speech against homosexuals. While the bill targets Nazi and racist hate campaigns, it also addresses church sermons. Prominent homosexuals have said publicly that they will report preachers who speak disparagingly about homosexual behavior from the pulpit. Now, I find it significant that heterosexism, the value system that prizes heterosexuality and devalues homosexuality, is viewed by gay activists as an evil equal to racism and a point of view that should be eliminated. Just as persons accused of racism face employment discrimination and are deemed unfit for public office, the equivalent sanctions can be leveled at heterosexists. Gay activists demand that heterosexism be eliminated from all institutions, including religious institutions. If a patient wishes to change from a homosexual to a heterosexual orientation for religious reasons, some therapists now encourage, quote, a religious reorientation. Schools. Many public schools are both adopting curricula to present homosexuality as normal and encouraging homosexual clubs for students. Now, the position of many public schools presents really another deterrent to free and open discussion. The book, Heather Has Two Mommies, published by the Allison Publications, is currently being used in many of the public school systems. And as you know, many schools like Boston, Seattle, California, by law are required to give this kind of a presentation. Besides introducing such courses into the life of the school, school administrators are inviting gay activists to serve as, quote, adult advisors to youth confused about their sexuality or think that they are gay. And the sixth of the institutions that are influencing people in various ways, the Division of Outreach of the ELCA. A study was carried out by the division entitled Gay and Lesbian Hospitality Study that was carried out by a committee representing several divisions and commissions of the church. The result of that study was a 3-ring binder notebook entitled Congregational Hospitality to Gay and Lesbian People. Published in 1999, the notebook provides information for congregations to become reconciling in Christ congregations. The printed texts in this 3-ring binder makes it clear that becoming a welcoming congregation is not, and now this is the quote, is not an end product, but rather a, quote, a journey or process that could result in conversations about other gay and lesbian issues in the church, such as performing blessing ceremonies and the question of the ordination of gay and lesbian people. The notebooks offered bibliography of 28 books and references to be used by reconciling in Christ congregations, are books that advocate a reinterpretation of homosexuality. 2 of these books teach that the Bible is not against homosexuality. Now here you have 6 institutions that that limit their information to one side. Now this is making it difficult for people in the church who lack a basis for evaluating the reasons now being given for a proposed change. They need information that usually is not being shared. So in this connection now, let me describe my concerns as a pastor, as a psychologist, and as a youth researcher. And I'd like to just touch some of the things that concern me a great deal.